Hello, I'm Gail Devins, and welcome to another edition of Consider It Local. Today, we're here at the Fellowship in Easton, and beside me is Pastor Zach Nicholson, and on the other side of me is Elder David DeRay. So first, I'd like to talk to you, David, about the history of the church. Can you tell me, when did the Fellowship actually become the Fellowship?
The Fellowship began in 1977. And anyone who takes the detour around on Highland Street, when you take a left off Highland Street onto Bay Road, there's a brown building there. That was the Grange Hall, and that's where we began. So anyone who takes that street from Highland to Bay Road, you'll see where the Fellowship began.
Wow.
We moved here in 1983. And we continue to grow in several different phases in terms of the building and structure that we have here.
Mm-hmm. And so tell me how, first of all, for the listeners out there, and of course I'm a member of the church, and if you could explain to listeners, how did the Fellowship come about? I mean, what caused someone to say, okay, because I understand that it's non-denominational. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Right.
So we came from a group of families who decided they wanted to stay together. What was happening at the church they were at wasn't working very well, and they wanted to stay together as a group. They wanted to support missionaries that they had been supporting for many years, and just be as families together. And then over time they realized for that summer, we should really look into starting a church. So in the summer 1977, they organized the church, and they had their very first services at the Grange, and that's where it began.
Wow, that's very interesting. And so around how many people did you start with? I mean, when you were at the Grange, how many would you say?
At our largest number would be 100 people in that little room.
Oh, okay. Oh, it's amazing. So then you decided to come here.
Yes.
And at present, how many people would you say are typically, or maybe you could tell us, Pastor Zach, how many people are usually at our service? How many would you say?
Well, on a monthly basis, we probably minister to somewhere between 450 to 500.
Oh.
So if you come on any given Sunday, we'll have between 270-ish, somewhere around there.
Oh, okay. All right.
But yeah, so over the month, we will have ministered to around 450 or 500 people.
That's amazing. That's wonderful.
Yeah, we're grateful for it.
That's great. So what I'd like to talk about also, and David, you're an elder of the church. I'd like to just explain to listeners about the elders and the staff. So you have a certain number of elders, and then Pastor Zach is considered as our lead pastor. Can you explain that dynamics? How does that work?
One of the things that's unusual about the Fellowship is that elders are elders for a very long period of time. It's not like a rotation that happens in many other church bodies. So when the church comes to consensus and says, yes, this is a person who's an elder, they are there until maybe they move out of town or something changed in their ministry, and they're a long time. Staff, well, we keep staff for as long as we possibly can. Zach is only the third pastor we've had at the Fellowship in more than 40 years.
That's amazing.
So we're do everything we can to make sure that we have high quality staff and do what we can to support them, to keep them here. By having stability, I think it gives an opportunity to continue to grow and build on what we're doing.
Okay, and you mentioned consensus. Could you explain how does that work in the church?
Unlike voting, where there's people on two different sides, and with every vote there's somebody who's going to lose, the concept we have here is that everyone spends a lot of time talking about an issue, getting a lot of questions answered, everything's straightened out until they can finally say, I think this is indeed the right way to go. So we will have consensus. We had to have consensus for Zach to become our new pastor. He's not just a pastor, he's also an elder on the elder board as well.
Oh, very interesting. Okay, so he's also an elder as well. Very nice. That's good. I like that. And I do remember that whole process. And during that time, I felt like everyone was heard. So you had several meetings beforehand. And that's one of the wonderful things about the Fellowship, is that everybody can be involved and everyone has a voice and can say things. So there's no question, there's nothing hidden. Everything is very transparent here. I believe that's a really good thing. And so I'd like to talk to Zach, Pastor Zach, a little bit about, so you're not from this area.
Correct.
Yes, so you're from Texas, from Houston, Texas.
Correct.
And I would like to know, first of all, I know it's not the weather that you moved up here for.
Correct. But I do love it. I've discovered that I love the cold.
That's amazing. I will switch places.
Yeah.
Oh, brother. So when you were in Texas and everything, you were a pastor down there. What made you decide to come up to the fellowship? What was it? What happened?
Well, the very simple answer is the Lord led my entire family to believe that God was calling us to put our roots here in Easton. Mm-hmm. That's the very abbreviated, summarized version. Mm-hmm. But from the time that my wife Crystal and I came here the first time, we loved the people, we fell in love with the people, we loved the area, and we just sensed that even though we had only been here 1 or 2 times, this felt like home for us. Mm-hmm. So we went back and spent that whole year thinking, praying, discovering, thinking through what it means to transition. Mm-hmm. That's kind of what kept coming back to us, is that the fellowship feels like a family. Mm-hmm. It feels like a home. And I'm thankful not only to be the pastor at the church, but if I were not on staff at this church, if I were not an elder at this church, I would want my family to be here. I mean, that's the vibe here is a family. Mm-hmm. And that is really what we want, not just the staff members to feel, but for our guests to feel when they come for the first time. That's what we say. This is a place where neighbors become friends, friends become family, because it is.
Yeah.
It's a family of faith.
Yeah, and we are just beyond happy that you're here. I mean, just wonderful. And let me tell you something. If you come here and you want to check out the church and everything and the body of believers, the sermons really, not to put you on the spot, but the sermons are really, really amazing and so pertinent to today. And you don't find yourself like, okay, what time is it? My stomach's growling, I'm hungry, let's go. It's never that. I'm telling you, every single time that we've come to church and every time that we've heard him preach, it's just amazing. It's wonderful. And the nice thing is that you feel like your family. Yeah. And everybody. And there's no really judgment going on. There's no when you come to the church. I mean, there's people come in all different dress, right? People wear jeans. People wear dresses. There's no dress code, which is nice.
Correct.
You know what I mean?
Right.
That's really kind of nice.
Yeah, we meet people where they are. Mm-hmm. We have, like for yesterday, we had people visit the church that have been walking with the Lord for years. Mm-hmm. We had somebody visit the church that probably hasn't been inside of a church in 45 years. Mm-hmm. So we have a wide variety of backgrounds. Mm-hmm. They're all welcome. That you don't have to own a Bible to come. You don't have to even be a professing Christian to come. Nice. But we believe, and what really fuels elders ministry and staff ministry is we long to see people thrive. Mm-hmm. That's what we long for. That's what we pray for. That's what we organize for. That's what we do ministry for people to thrive. And we believe that a morning worship service is a great way for people to come and discover a little bit about the church in a larger group environment and to discover what God might have for their life here. Mm-hmm. But thank you for the saying it on TV.
Yes, it's out there, boy, and it's going on the internet too.
There's a quote from a famous preacher that says, "It is a sin to bore people with the Word of God." And I try to live by that.
Very good.
I try to live by that.
Yeah, well, you do a good job of that.
Thank you.
So that's good. Yeah, and so as far as the church goes, so maybe Dave, you can tell us a little bit about the service and how it does kind of change. So yes, we have music every Sunday, but sometimes the dynamics change just a little bit so you're not seeing the same old thing every Sunday. Maybe you can, as an elder, explain about how there's different elders that lead the actual service and everything.
The remarkable thing is that we really are very much contemporary worship in the service, but it changes from week to week on the basis of who is going to be leading that in terms of the different worship teams. And we are incredibly blessed to not only having people who have a long experience in playing music or in singing, but we've got teenagers and even middle school people who are involved with what goes on in the worship team. So if you showed up on a Sunday, you would see one worship team, and the next week you may see some of the same people, but a lot of others on the stage. And it changes on the basis of what's going on in terms of the themes. So when Zach organizes a sermon, we have a director of worship ministries who helps to organize what are going to be the songs that will actually match up with the main themes of what Zach is going to be bringing out, so that there's a flow of the ideas from beginning to the end.
Oh, that's very nice. And I think when you do that, I think it just stays in your mind more as everything flows together. And there's a lot of things that happen behind the scenes, I'm sure, that I don't know about that to make everything work. And so there's a number of different staff, like you mentioned, and that makes everything come together. And one thing I'd like to talk to Zach about, if you don't mind, is what we have going on right now is called the Journey Group, which is fantastic. If you could just explain the whole Journey Group, what's going on with that.
So Journey Groups they're one way that we're trying to take a step every month. So we started in September, and we said every single month we want to take a step in spiritual growth. So every month we highlight a different area of life. In September, we said each of us, by God's grace, we want to take one step in growth in understanding what the Bible teaches. So we want to get better at handling the Word of God. In October, we said we want to take a step of growth in just living in the presence of God and walking with Him in a day-to-day way. So one of the ways that we're trying to accomplish that is through what we call journey groups. These are groups that meet in homes. We have a group that meets every single night of the week. So all 7 days we have a journey group meeting somewhere in the area. And they get together. They talk a little bit about the message. They'll answer some discussion questions from the message. And then they'll sit around a table and talk about, their personal goal that they've set to grow, how they're doing with it, and how the group can pray for them. But it's been a really powerful time, not just for individual growth, but for the group growing together. I mentioned, we really feel like we're a family. And so having that time to be together as a family has been really transformational for a lot of people. It's been incredible to hear the testimonies about journey groups.
Yeah. And it's true. And I agree with you too, because usually when you go to church on Sunday, you say hello to this one, hello to this one, hello.
Right.
But do you really, it's difficult sometimes to really engage in how are things going, how this and that. So when you do get together with these small groups, it's really kind of nice. And it's very trustworthy too. I mean, it's just, it never becomes a gossip thing or anything like that. And we're talking, the other thing I like is that, so you have a message on Sunday, yet during the midweek when we go to our journey group, there's the message again. So it's there.
Yeah.
So
you have a space and you have a time devoted towards processing the ideas that are shared during the message, the truth that the Scripture is talking about, or whatever it may be. Whereas you may hear it sitting in the worship center, and you may be thinking about it on your own. But to give people a time and a place to really process through that is really helpful.
Yeah. And I also, we also have, in regard to community and everything like that, we have different things going on outside the church that people can get involved in, right, David? And just help out people out there that need help, or the elderly, or things like that. And there's all kinds of things called Operation Kindness. And and then I was thinking about how we, cut. I was thinking about something, and just fled my mind. It just went flying out. It's gone. One of the things that I like that you do, Pastor Zach, is when we start the service and everybody sits down, and if you're a newcomer to anywhere, but especially a church, I feel as though it's kind of, you get kind of nervous, you know, what's going on
Sure,
here?
right.
What am I expected to
Yeah.
do? And you make that very clear. You make guests feel very comfortable, and I really appreciate that. And you'll actually talk to them. You never ask them to stand up and say, "You're new here, everybody clap," right?
People did that to me one time, and I did
They
not
did?
appreciate it. So I didn't
Oh
want-
yeah, can you
I was a
imagine?
guest at a church one time and had to stand up,
Oh.
tell my name, where I'm
Really?
from, give
Oh,
a little
yeah,
bit. And I'm
no.
going, oh, this is so embarrassing.
Yeah, no. So that does not happen
No, that
here,
does
which
not
is
happen.
good.
Gosh, no, yeah.
So you can sneak in and sneak out if you want to, but you're
If
welcome.
You want
and
to, you can. And this is what I say well, you know this, but we say we acknowledge that it takes a lot of courage to go to a new place. Not just a church, but a new place
Yeah.
anywhere. Park in a new spot, walk in a new door, and sit
Yeah.
next to people that you've never met
Oh,
before.
yeah.
So we try
Yeah.
to just acknowledge the bravery of people. We also try to acknowledge the different places and backgrounds. There's people who come on a regular basis who are atheists. They're agnostics. They don't believe in the existence of God. They wonder about the existence of God, but they're invited. And so, with respect and in the spirit of learning, they come, and we welcome those people. But yeah, people come for all different reasons, and you never know what they are.
yeah,
And our job is not to sort all of that out. Our job is to love people and just trust that as they gather with God's people and engage in seeking the face of the Lord, that God will do His work. But yeah,
well, there's no
it's-
pressure.
there's no pressure. And but beyond that, we want people to feel welcomed, and we don't want them to feel put on the spot. We want them to feel that we love them, because we do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's very, very important.
Yeah.
And also, we have the Welcome Center. So if you were to come in, if someone came into the church, you direct them after the service, you can go to the Welcome Center, and they get actually a gift.
We give gifts at the
Yes.
fellowship.
Yes.
We give gifts. They're very practical. I'm
Yeah.
a coffee drinker, so anytime somebody gives me a coffee mug, I greatly appreciate it.
Yeah.
I just gave away the gift, but
Yeah, and there's a little more in there
there's a
too.
little more. There's a little more. Yeah. And that's a very small token. It's a very small way of saying thanks for coming.
Yeah. And it's
Yeah,
very
I guess,
welcoming.
yeah.
Yeah. It's just a very warm atmosphere, the church and the people, and like I said, there's really no judging going on. It's just a welcoming thing.
Yeah.
Come on in, we want you to come in.
Yeah, like I said
So-
a minute ago, our family would choose this church even if we were not on staff.
Wow.
It's got a great student ministry. It's got a great kids ministry. And it's a great place for families, whatever that family looks like, if for singles, for couples that don't have kids, or couples who have kids
Yeah, yeah.
and they're moved on, and it's just a great place. It's a great family environment.
It is, yeah. And in regard to, I'd like to touch upon the safety of the church. I mean, we live in a day and age now where things are happening.
Right.
And so maybe as an elder, Dave, you can talk about the safety of the kids, the little kids that come in, and what we have with the nursery and everything.
One of the first things we do is we're very careful in terms of who we have as volunteers. Now we have actually a national registry that people have to go through. Not just looking at what's going on in Massachusetts, but we're checking
National.
people's backgrounds. So it's a national thing that we're checking.
That's amazing.
And that happens with all the volunteers. We also would expect that somebody who is working with us, who wants to work with children, they should be with us for 6 months or so we get to know them, they get to know us, and we can find out whether this really is going to be a good fit for them to work with, whether it's children or teens, rather than just walk right in off the street and start serving and being involved with our kids, young or old.
Very good.
We put that as a very high priority because we know that the safety of our kids and the safety of our teens is really is very important for the parents, but it's very important for us. These are precious people. These are not just the church of the future. They are the church of now. They are the ones who are telling people in their high schools about who Jesus is. They're the little kids who are praying for their next door neighbor to not move, and then it turns out their next door neighbor doesn't move, and they're all excited because God is moving in their own lives and saying, look, I can pray and God's answering my prayers. So they're really significant for us, and we want to do everything we can to protect and encourage and nurture them.
That's good. And so maybe we'll have a little tour, very quick tour, and we can kind of show how even you can't even go beyond this one section of the hallway unless you have a child that is down there. So it's a very, very good system that we have going. But it's a very warm, welcoming community here, and also we have a prayer chain, right? That goes
We do.
on, and so if there's a prayer need or prayer request, and before I forget, I want to mention the website address, which is www.
thefellowshiponline.org.
Okay, thefellowshiponline.org. And so if you were to go on that, you would find you can, number one, you can see the sermons. Number two, if you have a prayer request, you can actually put that prayer request, and it'll be private. You need not put your name, anything like that, prayer request, and that automatically goes on to our prayer chain that goes to so many different members of the church, and we're praying. And that, prayer can be answered. You can find out what's going on with youth groups, what's going on with different events, right? So that's nice.
It's there, available for lots of people. You get to know something about who the staff is. You can find out some more details about who we are. We can find out what our statement of faith is, where we came from, what we look at doing. And when you look at just the picture, you can see the worship team up there, and you can see that mix of ages. That's an intergenerational group that's up there that's helping to lead worship.
Yeah.
And the website really has been fabulous for us, and we get a lot of people check it out. Frankly, almost everyone who comes for the first time here goes to the website first to check it out, to see who we are, see what's going on, find out if this is the kind of place that they'd want to be.
Interesting.
So if anyone's looking at the fellowship, the first place they probably are going to do is go to the website.
Yeah.
And we're really happy with the work that's been done by our volunteer team to put that together.
Yeah, that's great. And so you can find all kinds of things on the website. And one thing I'd like to put a little plug in is the women's ministry is just phenomenal here. I mean, you got pie night, you got soup for the soul night, you have the retreat, which is amazing down the Cape. Not down the Cape, but in Plymouth. And it's just a really great time. And you can just, it's a very good ministry. So a lot of good things going on here at the fellowship. Is there something else, Pastor Zach, that you'd like to mention that we haven't really talked about?
Well, there's so much that we haven't talked about. There's so much to say about this family of faith. I guess I would just say if people are hungry and looking for a place to worship, come and see. There's just so much you could say about a church in 15 or 30 minutes or however long we've been talking, but come and see, come and experience it. And if this is not the place for you, we would be happy to help you find the right place, because
good to know.
We want people to thrive. We believe this is a place that everybody can thrive, but if it's not for whoever, for whatever reason, we will be happy to make recommendations on other communities of faith and just help people to thrive. That's really the heartbeat of what drives us. We want people to thrive in the Lord. Yeah. And
that's very nice.
Yeah.
And then we have a Christmas service coming up. We'll have Christmas, there's several services. Are we going to have the one service or the two service? We don't know yet, right? As far as Christmas.
Which Christmas, we have a Christmas Eve service.
Yeah, Christmas Eve. Okay, yeah.
That'll be at 5 o'clock this year.
5 o'clock?
December the 24th at 5 p.m.
All right.
Yeah.
And so it's very nice. That's a very nice service. Yeah, it's very good.
And any unique services that we would be doing that's outside of our normal Sunday mornings, people can find online. So they can go to our events page and see the different things
check
that we've
out and
got
see
going
what's
on.
go on the website. That's good to know. Yeah. So is there anything else that you'd like to mention, Dave? Wait a minute, Dave. I have a question. How long have you been coming to the fellowship?
I've been here since I missed the first month and a half. So I've been here for more than 40 years.
Wow.
So I was there at the Grange when we were still there. I was there when we swapped our land that turned out to be Burger King's land, and we got this large amount of land plus money for the foundation of the building.
Wow.
And I've been here through thick and thin through all of this.
Great.
And it's been wonderful, not only as an elder, but My amazing wife has been the church secretariat here for 33 years. So it's been a real family affair for us, with our kids coming through here, et cetera. It's just a wonderful place to be.
Yeah.
The only thing I would say to people is, it's not hard for you to find us, because we're across from Target. It's right on 106.
Yeah.
Yes, we do have the detour to deal with at the moment, but remarkably, people are still coming.
Still
Even
getting
with the
here.
detour, we're getting new people every single Sunday. People are saying, I don't care about the detour. I'm going to check this place out. This
Yeah.
is someplace I want to be.
Yeah.
And that says a lot about what's happening here with this family of believers, that people say, we want to be here. And lots of our friends are being invited, and they're inviting other friends. So it's a great place to be.
Well, you know, one thing I want to mention is what we used to term as VBS, Vacation Bible School, is now termed as Kids Week. And tell us just a little bit about Kids Week. What goes on there?
Are you trying to get me to talk about my costumes?
Yeah,
Is
so
that
Dave-
what this is, Gail?
Dave gets dressed up every year as a certain somebody or a certain something. And the kids love it. I mean, they love it. Well, you're a panda bear, you're a guy from outer space. I mean, you name it. And a lot of fun. I like to tell you, though, the adults have probably even more fun than the kids. I mean, it's just so much fun.
You're right about that.
And the kids, tell me around how many kids on average show up.
On an average, we have 100 or 100 plus kids who are under fourth grade, who come to be part of that program that they'll walk through.
Yep.
But we have an amazing teenagers who are there to do a lot of the leadership, taking kids from station to station, getting to know them well, being able to understand them so well that they can pray for them, looking forward to see them. And when that Kids Week is over, these kids are then still trying to check with those little kids. Hey, how are you doing? You know, I saw you at
nice.
Vacation Bible School. That was a
Wow.
lot of fun.
That's nice.
So it's not just kind of a one-step thing for 1 week. But yes, some people out there who are loyal viewers of yours may well have seen me standing out there on the corner waving people in,
106.
wearing some kind of a weird costume. Yeah, that's
right.
that's me. That's me.
And I wanted to thank you for not wearing that outfit today. Thank you very much. I know you wanted to. You were thinking about it. But
He prayed about it.
he did. Okay, and then God said no.
God said,
But
prayer.
yeah, really. But VBS, our Kids Week, is just so much fun. It's from Monday through Friday, right? And it's from what is it, 8 to 12?
9 o'clock in the
9 to
morning till
12.
12.
Yeah.
A lot of good music, a lot of fun for the kids. They have games that they have a great time with, snacks that are safe. We're not going to deal
Yeah.
with kids with allergy problems. We do everything we can to try to protect the kids in those areas.
Yeah.
And they get some really great Bible teaching. Zach was one of the Bible teachers this year who was taking care of all the kids who walked through, and he would do the main Bible story. He and his wife did the main Bible story
how nice.
Monday through Friday.
Which also makes the kids relate to you at a different level. You know, I mean, you're very approachable anyway, but so the little kids can say, oh yeah, okay, he's like mommy and daddy, you know. So it's just that's nice.
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah. So I think we kind of touched upon, and I also wanted to mention, give me you would say the demographics as far as ages of people that attend this church. What would you say?
That's a great question. It's really evenly split in terms of age. I would say in terms of any demographic, we have a pretty healthy, diverse congregation. So if you're thinking about age groups, it's very diverse. If you're thinking about ethnicity, it's also diverse. Socioeconomic status, we have people from all different types of walks of life
Excellent.
coming together and locking arms and walking forward in the ways of the Lord. It's very diverse. It's very diverse. We have right now probably the demographic of young families is probably where we're growing right now at the most rapidly, at the most rapid pace. But that doesn't, I mean, we still have people from all different walks of life coming.
Yeah.
It's very, in my mind at least, that's a very healthy thing.
Oh yeah, definitely. Because you have the older people that can kind of just guide the younger people
Right.
through life experience, and so it's a very good thing.
Yeah, and some people call it mentorship, some people call it discipleship, but we take very seriously at the fellowship the responsibility of mentorship to the younger generations, which is why, as David was mentioning, you have junior high kids playing music on our main service on Sunday mornings because we have invested, we have discipled, we've mentored. And so that manifests itself in a lot of different ways, not just in music, but yeah, it's very healthy when you've got different generations that can invest in the next generations.
Yeah. It's a very good thing. Well, so what do we say? We take a little tour, and if something comes to your mind that, oh, I wanted to mention this, we can do that as we go along. So let's take a tour and see what this church looks like on the inside. Here we go. I'd like to introduce you to our student pastor, and his name is John Kraft. Now, newly hired, we're all excited. He's got all these fantastic ideas for the youth ministry. Incredible. The kids are so excited to have him here. Everybody loves him. And your kids will too. Thank you. We do have an elevator too. So if it's very ADA accessible. So, and here we are in one of our hallways. And I wanted to mention, Dave will talk about the fellowship kids, and this is their check-in area where the parents check in their children.
When you come to visit and you've got some kids and you want to know where your kids are going to be, you'll bring your kids here and then you would have them checked in. And that doesn't matter if they're just a baby or they're a senior in high school. And they'll be checked in and then they'll be checked out when they're finished. So we know where they are at the time. We only let the teachers who have their name tags or people on the safety team are walking by will be in that area. So random people are not allowed to come down this hallway.
So they can't go down this hallway right here?
This hallway here, they're going to be stopped here and they can't go by unless you have a name tag and you're there or that shows you're on the safety team or you're part of the children's ministry or youth ministry going down there.
That's good. And so what's this little device here? What's this all about?
This is how they go about checking in with an iPad, and then they get a name tag that's put out from here, and then the kids themselves will have them. Now the kids have fun as to where they're putting them on them. Sometimes they'll put them on their back, which is a strange place to put them. Sometimes they put it on their hip, wherever it might be, on their armband, wherever it might be, they're having fun. But they're just to have their name tag so that people, even the people walking in, a new child comes in, knows who they are. And if you can read as a child, you will quickly know the other people in the room too.
Oh, okay, great, thank you. Okay, so here's the welcome desk, right here. And so if you were to come into the church, you would see some friendly faces here, smiling, saying hello, thank you very much, and gift. And so if you noticed, there are various monitors on the wall. So for various events or, now this usually isn't here, this black
This is usually, this is here just on Tuesday nights, so we keep the younger kids out here and we keep the middle school and high school kids out there so they're not bumping into each other. Another area of trying to keep kids safe. So the middle school and high school kids will come in that door and sign in there. And the children will be coming in this door and they'll sign in here. And again, it's just as a way to try to keep things safe for the kids.
Sounds good. Yeah.
We'll come through here. Here's the best way to get through, Gail.
Okay. Got a nice little carpet. So here we are. We're walking into the worship area.
Yeah, this is our worship center. This was the newest part of our building. It is in fact very wedding friendly. Some of your viewers may have seen Four Brides for Weddings on television, on TLC. And one of the young women got married here. One of our church members was married here and was filmed here.
Yeah.
And because of the beauty of the ceilings, the architecture, it really attracts people to make things wedding friendly. And people will walk in here and they'll suddenly say, oh, now I understand why my friend goes to the church, because it's such a pretty place to be.
Yes, definitely.
We have all the screens on both sides are going to show the words for the songs that we'll be singing. And also we'll have some scripture passages that may be popping up as we go through a sermon presentation or something of that nature. Behind there you'll see that's the baptistry, where we have immersion baptisms that happen of believers' baptism. Whether they're children or adults, that's where they'll be coming to have that baptism experience.
Okay.
And you can see we've got a number of keyboards on the stage, but there's no pulpit. Isn't that kind of strange?
No pulpit.
It's because our pastor Zach really likes to be close to the people. He doesn't want to have that thing kind of blocking him or kind of anchored to be in one spot where he's doing. So
Yeah.
he can try to interact with the people wherever they are.
Yeah.
But he and his family are so excited to be here, they actually sit right up here in the front row because they want to be involved with everything.
Yeah.
And so they're very happy to be there.
Yeah.
At the end of a service, instead of standing at the door and greeting people who are leaving, Zach will be up here talking with people who have a significant prayer need, or maybe today was the day they decided they're beginning their journey with Jesus.
Yeah.
Those are our 6 values. Our core values for the fellowship.
Okay, the core values. Nice. I didn't even realize that was, The other thing I'd like to mention too is after the service, we really have some really delicious snacks.
Wonderful snacks. Not
Really
only that,
good
but
stuff.
this used to be our original worship hall,
Yeah.
but now it's full of people at the end of the service. They're talking and talking, and they're talking forever. The
Yeah.
service might get over at 11:45, and at 12:30, there's still people standing
They're hanging
here
around.
talking,
They're not
hanging
running
around.
out.
And they
Yeah.
don't want to go anyplace.
Yeah.
They're just enjoying each other.
Yeah, it's a really, it's a nice community. So here's one of the nurseries in here. And another part of the nursery for the older children, little kids, toddlers.
Even inside the nursery, we're trying to make sure the kids are safe, so we're keeping the youngest kids and the older kids to 1 year old in one place, 2 years old in another, 3 years old in another place.
Yeah.
Because the 3-year-olds can be much more rambunctious and be problematic
for
for
sure.
the 1-year-olds.
Yeah.
And the 1-year-olds may need to have some place where they can be quietly sitting someplace and really understanding what's happening. So we have a very large nursery, and it's often full.
Yeah.
And just this Sunday, we had Pastor Zach's first baby dedication since he's been a pastor here, which is really
Yeah,
cool.
nice, yeah. That was very nice. And also the door here, they leave this part open so that there's never any, you know what's going on with your child.
So, yes, so if you're walking by and you want to do that, the difficulty we have is trying to make sure parents don't peek in, because when a parent
'cause
peeks in,
yeah.
then the child tends to get very excited. Mom, Dad, it's time to go, come get me.
So we have the window, just in case it's shut, you have the window you can look
we're
through.
serious about things.
Yeah.
I mean, we're so serious that we tell the people working here, you are not supposed to change diapers.
Yes.
So in our hall, we have a little place where a number shows up.
Yeah.
So if your child needs to have their diaper changed, the number pops up and you go, oh, gotta go change the diaper.
Yeah, right there in the worship hall, right?
You leave and you come
see
back,
your
you
number.
take care of your child,
Yeah.
and you go back in again.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
again, we don't want our workers to be doing that kind of stuff.
No.
We want to keep kids safe.
Yes. So there are also adult Bible studies going on, and also Sunday school classes on Sunday, right?
There are.
For
Every age group. There
yeah.
are multiple classes for kids from pre-K all the way up through adults, and multiple adult classes exist. And there's lots of different choices for people. Some of them are more age-related, but we have a great mixture, intergenerational, in almost every one of those.
Tell me the hour that the church service is.
The first service, so we start with our Sunday school and our adult Bible fellowships, our Sunday school at 9 o'clock, and then the church service itself starts at 10:30.
Okay, great. Anyway, thank you very much. I really had a great time with the tour and the talk, and I hope you did too. And it was just very, very nice. And maybe I'll see you here. Anyway, thank you very much. It was a great show. And until next time, I'll see you on Consider It Local.